So I would like to begin with this Divrei Torah, which was a fascinating Divrei Torah. This is based on what we have in Tsohar LaTeivah. And Rashi is the Rosh Tevis Natrikin Rabban Shel Yisrael. That's Rashi. So it's so interesting. Every single sefer of his begins with something that's showing the love of Klal Yisrael, of Hashem, of the Eibishter to Klal Yisrael. In the beginning of Sefer Bereshis, so Rashi says, why was it called Bereshis? Bishvil Yisrael shenikru Bereshis. This is in the honor or because of the Jews who are called Bereshis. And once again, in Sefer Shmais, why is he counting Bnei Yisrael? Eila Shmais Bnei Yisrael, lahaidia chibasan. Sefer Vayikra al Moshe, the difference between Vayikar to the other non-Jewish Nevi'im and to Moshe Lashon Chiba, Vayikra Lashon Chiba. Sefer Bamidbar, once again counting Bnei Yisrael. Mitoy Chibasan Lefanav Mainai Sam Kol Shah. I may be going fast. Hopefully we'll have a recording and you could look at it again. Sefer Dvarim, Ela Dvarim. Why is he saying Divrei Teichachas Musar? However, it's only in a hinting way. He's kiran beremes mipnei kevaydan shal Yisrael. So, what is the idea? I thought to begin with this that Rashi, who is Rabban shal Yisrael, it seems time and again opening a sefer has to do with the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Bnei Yisrael. So too in this matzav that we're in right now, there's two ways to look at things. One way is to look at the negative part. The other way is to be more positive and to show our appreciation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sometimes in good times we don't really appreciate what we have. So this is the way actually the Lubavitcher Rabbi always taught us is to look at it in a positive way. Mitayf chibasan, any way that you want to take it. So that's the first one. Okay. The next, all right, last time we went through a few different Divrei Torah. You could see over here what we did already. And so we're not going to repeat it, but let's start off with this one. So it says, so basically these are Divrei Torah for the Seder, for the Haggadah. But what is the Seder? Let's see if we can move this over here 1 second. So yeah, I can get it off the screen. So here's a nice piece of software. We can actually change the border. And that's how I could have a little fun while I'm teaching. Okay, so we have over here different Divrei Torah. Basically, it's going to be from Parsha Shmos, Va'era, Bo, and a couple from Beshalach. And we could use these Divrei Torah also for the Seder. So what happened was the Torah tells us the fact of the matter is that the Mitzrim wanted to oppress us, but it backfired. V'cha'asher ya'anu also, kein yirba v'chein yifrotz, that just the opposite. The more that the Egyptians afflicted us, the more that we increased and we became strong. Okay? So that is what the Pasuk tells us. So in this Mefarish called Arach Chaim says, it doesn't say V'cha'asher ino also, past tense, V'cha'asher ya'anu in the future tense, that this is exactly what Hashem is saying over here, a promise to us. Not only what happened in the past during the time of Egypt, but even more so that this will be the case in the future. Whenever the opposition will try to afflict us, they'll do the best that they can. What happened with throughout the ages, what happened in most recent history, the time of the Holocaust, V'cha'asher ya'anu, that they oppressed us. However, the Torah is telling us, is testifying to us that the opposite will happen. Kein yirba v'chein yifrotz. Hashem will turn around the tables and we will increase and we will become greater. What happened to the Roman Empire, to the Greek Empire, to all these different empires that were oppressing us, we withstood that and we increased with that. Now, later on, we're also going to talk about in one of the Divrei Torah an interesting thing regarding the egg. We start the meal of the Haggadah with eating a hard-boiled egg. So what's the reason for this? Several reasons. Reb Meir Shapiro, he was the founder of Daf Yomi and also the founder of Yeshivas Chachmei Lublin in the early 1930s. So he said that the egg, the hard-boiled egg, actually represents Klal Yisrael. Usually you take a food, and let's say a piece of meat, and the more you cook it, the softer it becomes. The egg is the opposite. You put a soft-boiled egg into a pot, the more you cook it, the harder they become. And that is the tchuna. This is really the characteristic of Klal Yisrael, and that's why we start the meal eating a hard-boiled egg. Next, we go into the next one. We go into we did do this last time, and we did this one also. I just wanted to put this up on the screen for a minute and to show you, this is very interesting, that we have over here the Tamei Negina, we have Vayamar Ruas Chayehem. I think this was a very nice one. Let me go through it. It will take a couple minutes. Rabbi Natik, do you hear me? I'm speaking to the screen. It's a strange feeling. I don't hear any response.
We hear you greatly. We hear you great.
Okay, very good. So, Vayamararu es chayehem. If you see my mouse, this is Kadma v'azla. And I'm going to do this fast. Vayamararu es chayehem. So that is the trup, the Tamei Negina on this. Okay, so we have the question. If during the Bris Bein Absarim, Hashem said 400 years, so why is it that we were in Mitzrayim for only 210 years? So the answer the Ramban does is that we did basically overtime. We worked 400 years within the 210-year period. So because of that, we went out early. So that's the answer of the Ramban. However, going forward with Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz, who lived in the 1700s, so Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz says, let's take a look at the trup. Kadma v'azla. Well, Kadma v'azla, that translates Kadima, going out early, Kadima, going forward, v'azla, azal, going out. In other words, the reason we were able to go out early was because Vayamararu es chayim, they made our lives bitter so much, so we worked overtime. But even more so, the gematria, take the gematria, the numerical value of Kadma v'azla, it equals 190. This means to say that we were able to go out 190 years earlier, because if you take 400, the Bris Bein Absarim, minus 210 equals 190. The reason we got out 190 years earlier, Kadma v'azla, was because Vayamararu es chayehem. And that's also what it says in the Haggadah, V'hakadosh Baruch Hu chishav es haketz. Hashem calculated the 190. In other words, he minused 190 from the 400 years, and that equaled 210. All right, so let's go further.
Time off for bad behavior on the part of the Egyptians.
100%. Menachem, thank you very much. I didn't even know anyone else is able to speak. That's great.
Anyone that wants to speak, you just unmute themselves for a question or a comment.
That's how it works? Okay, perfect. All right. We're going further in Shemos, Moshe, Haya. Could I just suggest, if someone wants to speak, just tell us your name before speaking. Who is I see Menachem. What's your last name?
Emmanuel.
Oh, Menachem Emmanuel from Florida. Shalom Aleichem. Regards to my parents. Okay. Umosha Haya Roas Tzon Yisro. This is really absolutely amazing. Moshe was a shepherd for the sheep of Yisro. So the Medrash tells us in Shmos Rabbah, the Medrash tells us, okay, why did Moshe Rabbeinu, why was he the one to become the Roa Yisrael, the shepherd of Bnei Yisrael? And it had to do with this story that one lamb ran away, and Moshe Rabbeinu took care of him with such care, with such tender care. So Hashem says, oh, if you had Rachmanis on this sheep, how much more so will you have Rachmanis? Will you be the perfect leader for Klal Yisrael? So I want to okay, so the Pardes Yosef, let's go into Pardes Yosef. Before that, we must have a nice border for the Pardes Yosef. He was a very special person. How's this border? Too much. Okay, we'll take this one. So, Pardes Yosef. I have a set in my house of Pardes Yosef on the Chumash, and he's one of those hidden people who not too many people know about him, but he was a Gaon Atzum. His name was Rabbi Yosef Patsanatsky, something like that. I can't really pronounce it, but somewhere in Poland. And he was, in my eyes, he was on the level at the same time also as the Rogachover. And he wrote fascinating Pirush on Chumash. So anyways, brought down from him. And it's interesting, this Rabbi Yosef, he did not have an official position as a rabbi. He was a storekeeper, but he was an unbelievable Talmid Chacham. So he says, what's the difference? Bnei Yisrael are compared to the tzayin, to the sheep. The difference between, let's say, another animal is that each animal has a defense mechanism. You could have a bear; they're able to defend themselves. You have hooves of a horse, or you have the horns of an ox, and everybody has their defense mechanism. However, the sheep don't have anything. There's two ways for them to be saved. One, that they should be able to run away from the situation, or two, that the shepherd is the one that protects them. So the same thing also, Bnei Yisrael are compared, Chayecha ata tiret soinei Yisrael. So the Bnei Yisrael are compared to the sheep of Israel, that we are the sheep. We have to know that in case our enemies are coming up against us, we have two ways. Number one, to run away. Number two, which is even more important, is that our shepherd, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the one to protect us. Now, it's very interesting that you see the word, I wrote her Svarim, but I think it's the Malakit over here, the guy who put together the Sefer, whoever he is. So it says over here that Moshe, his name was Moshe. You take a look at the Nekudis, you change them around, and you get Miseh. In other words, from a sheep. In other words, what was Moshe Rabbeinu, the Medrash tells us, actually had 10 names. One of the names is Yekusiel, Tuvia. However, what's the name that we know him by? What's he famous for? That the Torah says, Moshe, Kimina Mayim Mishisu. But it also switches around the letters and it comes from Moshe, Miseh. Why is he the leader of Bnei Yisrael? From this episode of the Seh, of the sheep. That's very interesting. Okay, am I going, is the pace okay? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes, okay. It's very good.
I want to show you something pretty fascinating here. I'm going to bring up something called my Bar Ilan. So Bar Ilan is just a software where you could look up a whole bunch of different things in the Chumash, in the Gemara, and Svarim. So let's take a look over here. And I'm going to type in the word Moshe. Okay, everyone see that? I press one button, and I want you to tell me how many times throughout Tanakh. Oh, let me just pick my database. My database is Tanakh. So you can see over here, let me restart because I only want Tanakh. I don't want to have Mefarshim on Yerushalmi, Talmud Babli. I only want Tanakh. So the question is, how many times with a prefix like Le Moshe, how many times do you think that the word Moshe is going to appear in Tanakh?
345.
345, which is the gematria. Who said that?
Rami Schwartz.
which is the gematria of Moshe, right? Is that why you picked it?
Yes.
Excellent. Anyone else? Anyone else? Let's take a look. Boom, 770. You see?
We should go off mute and do a round of applause.
770. There's only two problems. One problem is that if you take the word, here, I'm going to show you this word. There's actually two problems over here. V'im yimat. V'im yimat. Look at this. V'im yimat habayis miyais misa. Misa is also Moshe. Misa here means from the sheep, right? So that's not really Moshe's name. However, based on what we said before, that the reason he's called Moshe is because Misa, so it's not a problem anymore. And we still get 770. I don't think I have to tell you what 770 is. How's that? Now can we unmute and have some applause? Okay, very good. Let's go further. Back to this Dvar Torah. Since we just finished 770, we know the Rebbe was the one who was passionate about doing everything possible to bring Mashiach. Vayinaheg es hatzayin. Is it Vayinaheg or Vayinhag? Vayinaheg, right? Vayinaheg. This is my cheats. Vayinhag. No? Vayinhag es hatzon achar midbar. And he led the sheep after the midbar. It's talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. This is talking about in the Pasuk. It's speaking about that Moshe Rabbeinu was a shepherd for his father-in-law for a shver called Yisrael, and he led the sheep after the midbar. In other words, he went over there. This was the introduction for the burning bush. So now the Kol Simcha. Who is Kol Simcha? Kol Simcha is the Ger Rebbe. No, that's Leiv Simcha. I'm not sure who Kol Simcha is. Maybe he wrote a sefer Kol Simcha. I'm not exactly sure. So Kol Simcha writes over here, let's take a look at the words. Vayinag es hatzayin achar hamidbar. If we take the letters which appear after midbar, we get Mashiach. How is that? What's the letter after the mem? After the mem is, hold it. No. After the mem is nun, right? If we have the aleph base gimel down, mem, nun. After the daled is hey. After the beis is gimel. After the resh is shin. So Moshe Rabbeinu was leading the Tsohar B'nai Yisrael, and what was the purpose? That they should get Achar Hamidbar, they should get to the coming of Mashiach. And that's the gematria, Nun, Hey, Gimel, Shin, is the gematria of 853, which is the same gematria as Mashiach. And that's what the Hanhaga, the way that he was accustomed to do, that was his purpose, that was his mission statement, Vayinag hatzayin es b'nei Yisrael, achar hamidbar likras Mashiach tzidkenu. Beautiful vart. By the way, the Nun Hey Gimel Shin is also Nes Gadol Hayasham, which could be related to the Hanukkah miracle, also has to do with Mashiach. And that, if I'm not mistaken, is a vart of the B'nai Yisachar. Okay, we're going on to the next one. And here we go. Nice. I'm going to go through this one fast. So, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to take that staff. So, the Vilna, who says it? I'm not sure who says it, but it says here, the Vilna Gaon says that if you take the word Asher, 501 is the same gematria as Ditzach Adash Biachav. So he says, Vasamata azeh tikach biyadecha, take the staff in your hand, Asher, that, 501, Tasas Besa Osos, the Osos, which are the 10 plagues, will be Asher in the staff itself.
This is also in the letter of Reb Shimshon of Astropolina.
Right. It says that vart?
It doesn't say that word, but he talks about Asher. He talks about the Gimel Rukim. He talks about the shame of Asher, having it to be a Malach and Mona. He talks about the 10 Makos,
Right.
the different Malachim that made those Makos. He talks about it in the letter, and he does talk about Asher.
Your name. You just forgot to say your name.
All right. Everybody else I thought knows me. Avrami Schwartz.
Okay. Asher. So the Vilna Gaon says that actually the 10 Makas were carved out on that mata. Or you could see over here all different things that have to that are related to it. Mi Hashem Asher Eshma Bekolo, that Paro said, who's Hashem that I should listen to his voice? Like, you want to know who Hashem is? Asher. You'll find out what Hashem is. You'll find out the 10 Makas. That's from the Arizal. And from Hagos Maimonides, from Nachal Kedumim, which is the Chidah. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher, 10 Makas. Okay, I'm going to go to here. In the Zohar, it tells us that each one of the 10 plagues represents something which afflicted Nagaf L'Mitzrayim, and afflicted the Egyptians. However, on the flip side, it was a refuah, it was something positive for Bnei Yisrael. So, on one hand, Asher is an affliction for the Mitzrayim, for the Egyptians, Ditzach Hadash B'achav, the 10 Makas. The very same time, Asher is also related to the word Oshar, which is happiness, Simcha, that these Makas were actually a Simcha for Klal Yisrael, and that is from the Malake. No thanks. Okay. On a similar vein, Paro said, Mi Hashem, who is this Hashem that I should listen to his voice? You want to know Mi Hashem? So the Medrash Tanchuma says, me? Me is the same letters as Yam. Switch it around. You want to know who Hashem is? Yam Suf will, in the future, you'll see with Kriyas Yam Suf who exactly this Hashem is. Then you'll understand who Hashem is. Okay. We also, now we're going into Parshas Va'era. We finished Parshas Shmos. We did it quite fast. We're going now into Parshas Va'era. I would assume we'll have one more before Pesach. So really the point is to finish as many as possible. I have a lot prepared. Parshas Va'era, very interesting. Parshas Va'era talks about how many Makas. I'm asking you, how many Makas are in, how many of the 10 plagues are in Parshas Va'era?
3 or 7, I don't remember.
Well, here's an easy way to remember. Parshas Bo spells Beis Aleph. The Balaturim says that refers to the 3 Makas in Parshas Bo. So therefore, by using higher math, calculus, trigonometry, algebra, put them all together, and you get 10 minus 3 equals 7, right? So Va'era refers to 7 Makas, but here's another remez, that there's something called Mispar Katan. Mispar Katan basically is chop away the zeros. So let's add it up, the word Va'era. So Va'era itself, you're going to see 10 Makas, you're also going to see 7. Here's how we're going to do it. Vav is 6, Aleph is 1, Reish is 200, knock off the zeros is 2, Aleph is 1. So 6, 1, 7, 2, 9, and 10. That's B'mispar Katan, Eser, you get the 10 plagues. However, if you look at the first letter and the last letter, that's 6 and 1, so you have 7 plagues, or you could do the first 2 letters. Okay? And Parshas Bo is, Beis Aleph is 3 Makas. Now we're going to go to this one, which is, okay, this is really has a lot to do with the Haggadah. So we know that there are 4 cups of wine at the Seder table, 4 cups of wine. And we know that they are representing the 4 cups of wine, represent the 4 different expressions of redemption. Votzeitzi, and I will take out, Vitzalti, and I will save, Vigaalti, and I will, cool, better. Vigaalti, and I will redeem, Vilokachti, and I will take out. However, there happens to be a 5th one, Vehevesi. So we also have at the Seder table the Kos Shel Eliyahu, the cup of Elijah. The Kos Shel Eliyahu really does not say anywhere in the Gemara. The 4 cups, they do talk about it. But what's this 5th cup talking about? So the 2 different answers. The Sefer told us Esther. So he says, the cup of Elijah, of Eliyahu, is different than the other 4 cups. The other 4 cups, we drink from them. The Kos Shel Eliyahu, we don't drink from it. Because Vehevesi, Votzesi, I will take you out, I will save you, I will redeem you, and I will take you. These all refer to the situation we were in Egypt, that Hashem's going to take us out. Vehevesi is in the future. And I will bring you to Eretz Yisrael. That did not happen yet, that all Klal Yisrael came to Eretz Yisrael. This will happen very, very soon, but it didn't happen yet. So therefore, we drink from the other 4, but we don't drink from this, and that's why it's called Kos Shel Eliyahu, because we have to wait ad sheyavo Eliyahu. So that's from the Sefer told us Esther. I'm not sure exactly who told us Esther is. Now, the Vilna Gaon, the Gra, says that there's, in the Gemara, it's a question whether we have to, whether we can make a bench on the 5th cup, or whether we need, rather. It's a machlokes in the Gemara, whether we're obligated, besides the 4 cups, to make to bench on the 5th cup, on a special one, or not. And because of that suffix, because of that doubt, we pour the 5th cup, but we don't drink from it. So since this is in doubt, whenever, often the Gemara would say that if they're in doubt, the final result is, or the Gemara would finalize this with the word teku. Teku means it's a standstill. We don't know the answer yet. But it also stands for Tishbi, referring to Eliyahu Tishbi, Yetaretz Kushis Vibas, that Eliyahu Navi will come and he'll answer the question. So, in other words, why is this called Kos Shel Eliyahu? We don't know whether you can make a bracha on it. We use it for benching or not. So the answer is Kos Shel Eliyahu, it's Teku, that Eliyahu will answer the question to us, for us. Imri Noam. Imre Noam says, Ve'vesi eschem el haaretz, Ve'vesi is the gematria Mashiach ben David. What do you say? Should we go further, or should I go to Rabbi Kiva Eger? I wanted to follow up with a couple things there. Rabbi Natik, what do you say?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very tough decision.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that in the Rebbe's Haggadah, where he discusses the Kos Shel Eliyahu, he brings the Gra and he rejects the opinion of the Gra. I don't remember the details. Perhaps somebody knows here, but I believe he rejects the opinion that it's because of the suffix, and he says that it stands for itself.
Okay, so you have to join us next time and tell us what the Rebbe says.
Okay,
great.
Okay.
You know what? You're really supposed to start off with a joke. But maybe let's conclude with a joke now, instead of beginning with a joke. So, Vaydaber Moshe lifnei Hashem leimar, Hein b'nei Yisrael, lo'ishomu elai v'echi yishmeini paro v'ani aral svaseim. So this is one of my things that I really like to delve into, and that is svarim, and printing presses, and the censor, and everything that goes with it. So there were times that, especially in the beginning of the era of printing presses, that they were really, they were run not even by Jewish people, and the government had certain restrictions, and they would not allow certain things in the printing press, in the Gemaras. For example, we talk about Talmud. When you say, well, we're going to learn Gemara, that's what we're used to. But to say we're learning Talmud, well, that was one of the things that were censored, and it's not a Jewish thing. And according to us Yidden, we would call it Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi. That was normal. It was because of the censors that they changed it, the word to Gemara. So another thing that they did, I'm not going to go into at length over here, but just one of the things was that the censor, he would change different words. Whenever it's a goy, he didn't like the word goy, so he would change it, or min, or nachri, or aral, and instead it was the censor who wrote the word akum. Akum means oived kaichavim umazolos, somebody who serves stars and the zodiac signs. In other words, they want to say all these things, it could be derogatory, that were talked about. It's only specifically those who were serving, who were bowing down to the stars and everything, which was not prevalent in their time. So they would change it. So there's a sefer, a set of svarim I had since I was younger called Chad V'Chalak, and basically it's different jokes or tzachos. So, however, this is a true thing. So often they would hire a censor. Now, the censor didn't know what they were talking about. They weren't big Talmidei Chachamim, but they knew the rules. They were able to read Hebrew. So therefore, when it said one of these words, like Nachri, they would change it. So therefore, you would see sometimes that there will be a pasuk, Yisrael akum echad ba'aretz. That was instead of Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. That's what the pasuk says. So they changed it to akum. Peya akum, so they would write instead of peya nachris. Peya nachris means a shetel. So they change it to peya akum. Akum svasayim. So here in the pasuk, the Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, Vani oros svasayim meant Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, I can't speak. I'm not an orator. So instead, they see the word oros, so they change it to akum svasayim. Or instead of Barei Minei,
is this a joke?
This is all a joke. These are all jokes, but it's true.
No, it's true because they're like Pas Akum or Bishal Akum. That was really all because it was a euphemism for a goy.
Right.
That was like an example. That was like a real thing.
Right.
It didn't mean Akum. It meant the goy, but for the censors, they wrote Akum.
They wrote Akum, but there's a reason behind it.
Right, because
let's say they're saying Pas Akum. They meant to say it's not something derogatory for anyone who's not Jewish. It's specifically for the Akum.
Right. It was to placate those goyim. They didn't want it to come out derogatory against them.
So therefore, when it came to a bracha in the Seder, Barei Mine Mezainis, Mine means types of. It doesn't even mean a mean. So they would change it to Barei Akum. Barei Akum.
Okay, I get the joke now.
You got it. Okay,